Today we move across the diamond to the shortstop position. Let's get it started at number 5. And Tyler correctly caught an error on my part again this morning. I originally had, who was it, Xander Bogaerts?
Yeah, Xander Bogaerts.
He, as Tyler pointed out, last Thursday, Friday, news dump, got moved over to the other side of the diamond in second base, so I had to adjust my list slightly. That's why I've been putting a 6th on mine in case this comes up. I can just slide somebody up.
But when I put an extra on any of my lists, I get told I have to choose and yada, yada, yada.
Yes, it's a top 5, not a top rotating.
But you're doing top 6s for everything.
In case.
Because you're
I just put a
accidentally
6.
getting them wrong.
Well, because there's been more position changes this year than I ever
Jaime.
recall in baseball.
Sure.
And Xander Bogaerts would have been on the shortstop list, but he's moving to second base now, apparently. So number 5 for me, I have up in Toronto. We were just talking about it. I have Bo Bichette, pretty spectacular player. Has the 20-plus home run capability, hits for average, plays a really good glove. Not a ton to say about Bo Bichette other than he's pretty damn good. Renee, who's your number 5?
Starting my number 5 with the Philadelphia Philly. Not Trey Turner. Stumped you.
I don't think it stumped anyone.
No, it stumped me because I'm sitting here like, wait, hold on. I just made all these graphics. What are we doing here?
All right, a former Philadelphia Philly, in that he was a prospect with the Phillies. J.P. Crawford, a 5.1 WAR last year, hit 19 homers. Listen, in his 145 games that he played in, 131 OPS plus. J.P. Crawford is someone that I feel like is very young and growing. As we're talking about projection for 2024, I could see this being a great year for him. He's improved on his plate discipline. He's improved in his walk rate. He's really been able to help and just with, as I mentioned, his on-base percentage. But J.P. Crawford, somebody that may have flown under the radar a bit for some, I think is going to really rise in the shortstop role this year. Number 5, J.P.
Tyler, who you got number 5?
Yeah, so I'm going to say this, and then a little bit later I'm going to be incredibly hypocritical, but I think shortstop is one of the 3 or 4 positions that I think if we're ranking these top 5s, defensive work is significant on this list.
It's the most important defensive position on the diamond.
Yeah, it's 1 or 2. I mean, I think.
Are you considering first?
Catcher's probably there.
I kind of removed them from normal positions.
But yeah, I mean, I think of the 7 positional quote position players. I think defense is paramount to the shortstop list, and that's why for me, my number 5 player is Dansby Swanson on this list. A back-to-back Gold Glove winner. I think that this guy is almost somehow underrated defensively, despite the fact that he's won back-to-back Gold Gloves. When I look at him and Nico Horner across the other side of the diamond for the Chicago Cubs, it's one of the best defensive duos up the middle in the MLB. I think about Swanson. I think about Ha-Seong Kim, and those type of guys are elite defenders. And then on top of that, as you were talking about, Jamie, with the Bo Bichette numbers, there's power there enough. 22 or more home runs each of the last 3 seasons, 80 or more RBI. His first 80 RBI in his first season with Chicago. He was an all-star. 244 average last year, took a little bit of a dip from his 270 the year prior with Atlanta when he played every game. It was a slow start for Dansby Swanson, but he started to kind of recover as the season went on. I think that Swanson still has room to grow into his year 30 season. Defensively, he's elite. I think offensively, he bounces back a little bit, and that's why he's number 5 on my list.
Well, I'll take the torch and just run with it because Dansby Swanson comes in number 4 for me. Offensively, you'd like to see a little higher than a 244 average and a little higher than a 328 on base. But because of his defense, that got him in the top 4 for me. Carlos Correa was another guy I was considering as like that 5th or 6th piece. I would take Dansby Swanson over them because of his defense. And he's a tremendous player. I got him number 4. Who do you got, Renee? He had a 4.8 WAR last year, to put it in perspective.
Yeah, I'm also going with soccer superstar Mallory's husband, Dansby Swanson, because, like you guys mentioned, 3rd straight season of 20 homers, 18 RBIs. It also just has been one of the best shortstops defensively. And I just feel like Dansby Swanson is continuing to improve. He's hitting that patch in his career of being that in that 30-year-old club that makes you have that maturity and understanding the game on a different level. And number 4, Dansby, just like you, Jamie.
All right, hypocrisy level comes in now because the defense of this player at shortstop in his first year with his new club was horrendous. Trey Turner. I think the defense can't get any worse. It was 20 errors last year, I think it was.
It was his worst defensive year.
It was his worst defensive year by far. But even with the slump at the beginning of the season, and we know the whole story about the standing ovation and blah, blah, blah. The guy still hit 26 home runs, drove in 76. I expect him to have a better year offensively from a batting average standpoint. I think he's going to steal more bags this year than he did last year, and he stole 30 last year. I think he might get back up into that 35, close to 40 range this upcoming season. Strikeout numbers were high last year, a career high 150 strikeouts. I expect that to come back down a little bit. If the defense improves, the strikeout numbers go down, and he hits the way that he did. I can't say for the entirety of the season if he hits the way that he did in August and September and in the early portions of the playoffs, but I think you're getting a much better Trey Turner in 2024 than you did in the bulk of 2023. He's number 4 for me because the next guy I think has the potential to jump into superstar category, and I'm not sure Trey Turner's in superstar category anymore, but I'll go Trey Turner at number 4.
So I'm going Trey Turner at number 3 because I still believe he is in that superstar category. I just think he's going to get back to that this year. If his down year is a 3.4 WAR, a 266 average, like you said, 26 home runs, 100 runs scored, 75 plus RBIs. His OPS plus was 111. If that's a down year for him, and we all think he's going to improve and have not as quiet a 2.5 month period, then this guy is absolutely still a top 3 shortstop in the game. I do expect the defense to be better this year. I think that was the outlier for him last year. We saw Castellanos struggle mightily here in his first year. There's probably something to playing in front of a ravenous fan base. I think he's settled, he's adjusted, and I expect a much better year from Trey Turner. And if you're improving on that year, then damn, you're top 3 good to me.
So Trey Turner's number 6 for me. I actually wanted to put him on my list because I feel like he should be top 5, but I know how jinxes tend to work, and I'm going to leave him off my list for top 5, hoping he is top 5, knowing if I put him on the top 5, I don't know if he would perform at that level. So I'm doing some reverse psychology here, guys, because he was close enough, but I couldn't put him there. Anyways, my next one is Francisco Lindor. So Lindor, as we know, had a down season in 2021. And then the next 2 seasons made some major strides, 11.5 WAR over the past 2 seasons. This past year, he had a 2.54, 336, 470 split, a 6 WAR, also joined the 30-30 club for the first time. And despite being a Met, and I don't like to say positive thing about the Mets, I do think that Francisco Lindor is a great shortstop at that number 3 spot.
All right, Tyler, this is your superstar young buck projection here.
I think you probably know who it is based on the way
Jackson
that
Holiday?
I am not. I think you probably know who it is.
Wow.
I think this guy's about to jump into superstardom. I wrote a piece on this guy a couple weeks ago where I think that he may have an outside chance of leading the American League in hits this year in 2024. And it's Bobby Witt Jr. from Kansas City. The guy signed a big-time extension this offseason, and rightfully so, deservedly so. A low OBP for a guy that I expect to be close to the 200 hit number, but he did hit 276 last year, and he finished with 177 hits, drove in 96, scored 97, stole almost 50 bags, hit 30 home runs. Bobby Witt's defense it's improved. It went from a big-time negative in his first season to about an average defender in his second season. I could see it taking a little bit of a further jump in year 3, but it's the offense that does it for me. Strikeout rate goes down from 21 to 17. Home run rate goes up from 3 to 4. The BABIP has been 295 each of the last 2 seasons, which means he's right about league average where you want it to be. Hard hit percentage jumped up almost 8 points. Line drive numbers are up. I think that this kid is on the cusp of superstardom, and the Royals did a really nice job locking this kid in before it was too late.
Yeah, he is absolutely on the doorstep of superstardom. We'll see if the big money changes him between the years this year at all. Now to number 2 for me, I have Francisco Lindor. I think he, a 6 WAR last year, as I think you said, Renee, or maybe it was Tyler. I forget who had him already. 30 plus home runs. A guy that tiny should not be able to have that much power. I think it just shows you how quick his bat speed is. Plays a tremendous defense. 254 average. His OPS plus was 120. A phenomenal player. I mean, I hate to give. I was hoping his first year, speaking of first year struggles with a new team, I was hoping that was going to be Francisco Lindor. But no, sadly, he refound himself as one of the top shortstops in the game in New York. And I think that's unfortunately the norm to come. So that's part of why I believe Trey Turner is also going to stabilize this year. I just think there's something weird when you get those big money change of scenery deals that affect players. So I got Francisco Lindor number 2.
Well, I'm also going with the rising star who improved in almost every area of his game from his rookie season to year 2, and Bobby Witt Jr. as my number 2 on my list. Now, as we know, and Tyler, you hit on a lot of the same nuggets, but just to add to what you said, to have a rookie season of 20 homers, 80 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, and then you increase that the next year to have 30 homers, 49 steals, not to mention increase on the defensive side. He did have kind of a below average defensive production, but increased that this past year with his defensive runs saved. Overall, improved his walk rate, improved in just every area, a 4.4 WAR, still so young. And I think, this year is going to be a major stride year for Bobby Witt Jr. Number 2 for me, guys.
Man, you and Tyler both have a lot invested in
Super high on
Bobby
Bobby
Witt
Witt
Jr.
Jr.
I know.
Can we be adults about what is to happen on my list here?
No.
No,
We can't.
I don't
We're gonna
know,
get it. We're
actually.
gonna
I
get
can
it.
never
where you're
promise
going
to
with
be
this.
an
We're going to
adult.
get irrational about this.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, number 2 on my list is Corey Seager. I think that I have a feeling you guys are even higher on Corey Seager than I am. He had an incredible year last year and continues to grow as a shortstop, offensively and defensively. Last year, he posted an over 1 OPS. That OPS plus 170 is just
170.
disgusting. A 327 average, drove in nearly 100, hit over 30 home runs.
27 average, and you have him 2?
And I have
know
him
who your
too
number
because
one
he
is.
only. And here's the thing: he hit 33 home runs, and he only played 119 games last year in the regular season.
He
Silver
was
Slugger.
insane.
He was a stud in the postseason, and I expect him to continue to get the recognition that he deserves. And yes, he is at number 2 on my list, and I'll explain to you why I asked if we can be adults about this one
never.
coming up, because my number 1, a lot of people are not going to like.
Okay.
So my number 1, I'm going to take that torch and just run with it here. I got Corey Seager, number 1. I mean, a 6.9, very nice. WAR last year, an OPS plus of 170, 33 home runs in only 119 games, 470 plate appearances, is easily going to be a 100-plus run scored, 100-plus RBI guy, as long as he doesn't fall off of a cliff. Plays pretty good defense there. Best shortstop in the game right now. I don't know what Tyler's smoking over there, but we'll find out shortly. Corey Seager, I mean, that's a freakish year. His slugging was 623. His on base was 390. The guy was almost perfect. So he's my number 1.
Yep, also my number 1 because to have a 6.9 WAR in 119 games and posted a 6 F-WAR in only 102 games, absurd. Definitely the best shortstop. Corey Seager, the World Series champ. Listen, as you guys have already mentioned, all of his numbers through the roof, but what makes it more enticing for me to keep him at that number 1 spot is the fact that he did miss so much time last season. Hamstring injury, thumb injury. We didn't even get a full season of Corey Seager. This is an injury-plagued season, which for many would indicate a drop-off in your numbers. Not for him. 75 extra base hits and 536 plate appearances, all around offensive production-wise, as you go both hit on the numbers, insane. But also on the defensive side, listen, Corey Seager's the top shortstop in the game right now. Tyler, I don't know who you have at number 1, but I'm very interested because I'm pretty surprised you don't have Corey at number 1.
Corey Seager is absolutely a top shortstop in the game, and it's why I have him at number 2. Y'all are acting like I have him at number 75.
Why do you hate Corey Seager?
I don't hate Corey Seager.
You heard it here, folks.
I just
Tyler Zulli hates Corey Seager.
You're
Thinks
right.
he stinks.
You're right.
At
I do.
baseball.
I would
He was
actually.
51% better than the next shortstop.
I would probably take about 18 other shortstops than Corey Seager. No, Corey Seager's my number 2 shortstop, and the reason is because, guys, I'm sorry. I know that there's going to be vitriol in the chat.
You're not going Jackson.
My number
Holiday.
1 is Francisco Lindor.
Okay.
31 home runs last year in what was, as Jamie mentioned, a bounce-back season.
I
Last year,
think yours is actually a safer play going Lindor. Like, I think back of the baseball card, Lindor has done it longer.
Sure.
So I think yours might be a little safer.
I think 2021 really was a damning year for a lot of people on the Francisco Lindor train. They went, wow, he went to New York and he stunk. 230, he only hit 20 home runs. It was a down year. OPS plus was only at 100. And I understand that Corey Seager's season last year was elite. One of the best shortstop seasons we've ever seen. I'm going to play on the train that I don't like to. I'm going to play the Jamie train a little bit. I'd like to see him do it again. And maybe that's fair or unfair, but I have him at number 2. And I don't think that that's too far of a step down. Lindor does everything. He hit for 30 home runs last year. He drove in almost 100. He stole 30 bases for the first time in his career. And prior to that, he had stolen 16 in 2022. You could tell even in 2022, when he played almost every game of the season, he wasn't fully right and fully healthy after that 2021 season. Last year, he played 160 games. He was much better. Yes, the average took a dip down to 250, but the glove is better. The glove is better for me for Lindor than it is for Seager. Seager's improved, no doubt. He's been very good. But Lindor's glove, I think, is still one of the elite gloves. He was a Gold Glove finalist. So was Seager. To me, that this is a longevity over an individual season performance. And that's not even fair because Seager's been good in his career.
Yeah.
Seager was just so damn good last year. I'm going Lindor. You flip a coin, you pick one or the other. I'm okay with either one.
It is definitely hard to, especially after having a season like Corey Seager did, when everything seemed to go right down to winning a title, to be able to repeat that. So valid points, Tyler. Now that you've explained it, it's a lot less stressful and left fieldish than I thought when you first dropped it. So this is the fun part. Now we get to see whose lists are more accurate.